Yes. I'm recording.
Thank you. And the second thing is I passed around some sheets of paper, very crudely written words. These are words that are uncommon English words. You might know the meaning or you might not. I hope by the end of the speech you will have a clue in your mind about what these words mean, even if you don't technically know the answer. So with that, I'd like to begin. Mac, you can go.
Okay.
With the time. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests. My name is Grady Locklear, and it's great to see you all, including some very honored guests. It's very great to see you. My speech tonight, am I on green yet?
Yeah.
Okay. Tonight I'd like to introduce you to some Latin root words. For those of you who don't know, Latin is the language of the ancient Romans. The ancient Romans were a great and powerful culture in Europe many years ago. Now, Latin is sometimes referred to as a dead language because after the fall and collapse of the Roman Empire, people stopped speaking it. So no one actually knows how to pronounce or say Latin. We just have some guesses about it. But Latin is very important. And I would like to say that Latin can revitalize your understanding of the English language. In fact, as you see here on the slide, Latin can improve your vita. And I say vita because V-I-T-A is the Latin word for life. It's the origin of words like vitality, which means full of life, and vitamin, which you probably know what that word means. And with that, I would like to go to the next slide. It says English is connected to Latin. It might be a little tough to see the visual here, but there's a graph there on the right side. It says 29% of English words come from Latin directly. Another 29% come from French, and French is based almost entirely on Latin. So if you add them together, that's 58% of the English language is based on Latin. That's a huge portion, and you can understand just how important Latin is. So you might be asking, what can I learn from Latin? And there's a couple things you can learn. The first might be a little familiar if you were here for my last speech. Dinosaur names. You can learn about dinosaur names, including this one. Let me go to the next one. Velociraptor. You might remember Velociraptor from the Jurassic Park movies. It was the clever, small dinosaur that ate a lot of people. Veloci is the root word in Latin for speed. So we get words like velocity, which you might be able to see there in the bottom. And raptor comes from the Latin word for thief, or someone who is attacking, an attacker. So we get words like rapacious, which means greedy and violent, and rapid, which means quick. So we get those words from Latin. What else can you learn? Well, you can learn word origins. Here's one for you, obliterate. Obliterate means basically to destroy completely, to completely wreck something. But what it really means in Latin, the word ob, means against, or contrary to. So we get words like obstruction. An obstruction is something that is in your way. It's against your goal. An obstruction of justice, or an obstruction in the road that makes you stop driving your car. And we get words like obstinate. Ob, again, is against. So you might have an obstinate child, someone who is against you at every turn if you're the parent, or if you're a teacher. And the other part of obliterate, ob, plus literate. Literate is the Latin word for letters. Someone who is illiterate is someone who does not know letters. They don't know how to read or write. And literature is the word for letters in books. So you can see why it can be useful to know some of these root words. Next, consider the root words dis and astro. And then think of the word disaster. Disaster means everything has gone wrong. Now here's the origin. Dis means apart from something or a lack of something. So if you say for a crowd to disperse, that means for the crowd to break apart and go away. Astro is another root word, but this one is actually not Latin, it's Greek. But astro means star. So you get words like astronaut. Astronaut technically means a star sailor. Now astro means star, so you might wonder, disaster means against or opposed to stars. Well, a long time ago, people thought that your fate, your fortunes, could be told by the stars. You look into the stars and you could understand what was going to happen to you in your future. So if your journey was ill-fated or badly, your fortune was bad, then you could say it was the stars were against you. So that's what disaster means. Here's another interesting one, the root words ad and verse. Ad means to or toward something. So the word advance means to move toward something. The word adhere or adhesive means to stick to something. Tape is adhesive. It sticks to something. So that's what ad means. Verse means to turn. So you get words like reverse, which means to turn the other way. Inverted, which means something turned inside out. And extrovert, which means your feelings are turned to the outside, to the people around you. Now if you add them together, ad and verse, you get advertisement. You might be able to read there. Oops, I didn't go to the next slide, so let's go to it. Advertisement means to literally turn someone to your message. Turn to your message. So you understand what some of these words mean when you look at that. Now there are many more root words from Latin, and I've listed a few of them here. The words up on top, you can see un. These are all words that mean not, or against, or the opposite. Un, anti, dis, de, in, ex, ill, non, a, con. The converse of something, a conflict means against. So you can see how some of these words are useful to know. And I've listed just a few more that might interest you. Ben means well or good. You get words like benefactor, someone who supports you in a good way. Benevolent, someone who's kind. Cis, C-I-S, means to cut. So your incisors are your cutting teeth in your mouth. Incisors. Incision is the cut that a doctor makes. Incision comes from the same word. And arc means rule. Anarchy means, again, you can see A means without. So if you combine A and arc, you get anarchy, which means no rule. Patriarchy means a ruling father, because patri is the Latin word for father. And am means friend or love, am. So you get words like amicable, which means friendly, or amorous, which means with loving intentions. And capt or sept finally means to take or hold. So if you intercept a message during a time of war, you get in between and you take or hold that message. If you capture a fort, you take or hold the fort. In conclusion, Latin enlivens language. Life is what enlivened comes from. It comes from Latin. So Latin is considered a dead language by many people because the language sort of died out. But it can bring life to the English language in ways that you might not have known before tonight. Thank you.